Well, I want to talk about trans athletes and trans athletes bans, because that's something that it's still, I mean, I remember being on Pop Trigger on TYT 4 years ago, and that discussion was bubbling under. Then of course it's been an issue for years, but like many things, people weren't talking about it in mainstream or talking about it as prevalent as they are now. But this has been the worst year in recent history for anti-LGBTQ plus legislation. So far, 17 anti-LGBTQ bills have been signed into law. Senate Bill 29 would have mandated that transgendered student athletes play on sports teams based on their sex assigned at birth of their gender identity. Now, the bill's proponents said it was necessary to protect girls' sports, arguing that allowing transgender girls to play on school sports teams gave them an unfair advantage because they have higher levels of testosterone. Now, I want to, right, I mean, I'm gonna throw it to you, Canela, on this. Chime in, please, because I think this is asinine, I think this is crazy, but here we are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think asinine is absolutely the correct way to describe it, just because these trans athlete bans are really horrific because, one, they're not based in any kind of science. It's very much pseudoscience, because sex, as we're coming to now know more and more so, is not this linear, there's two biological sexes and that's it, right? It's more of a spectrum, just like gender is a spectrum. These bills completely ignore the existence of intersex people. Let's start there, right? And the fact that intersex athletes compete every day, all day. And I think that it's also, even if we're not looking at the specious science that it's based on, I think that at the end of the day, this is really harmful for trans kids, because suicide rates will go up when trans children aren't being affirmed in who they are and are actively being told by lawmakers, no, this isn't who you are, you're lying. And also, in addition to, sorry, go ahead.
No, continue.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just in terms of, if you look at studies that show that, when trans children aren't affirmed, whether that be at home, whether that be in their environment, it really determines what their adulthood is gonna look like. They tend to struggle more with depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations. And transgender kids already face so much, even if we're not adding these barriers that are being added by literal lawmakers that are attacking actual children. It's disgusting, it's reprehensible.
Reprehensible is absolutely the word. Plastic?
It's an attack on us. I mean, like, again, I know from experience, because I transitioned at 5. So my entire life, I've just been a girl. And to have strangers come up to you and tell you, no, you're not you, and you can't do this and you can't do that, it's heartbreaking and it's scary and it's sad. And my heart breaks for all these young trans kids who are not getting to evolve the way we should be evolving. I mean, they're stuck in this prison and there's no reason for it. Like, we have the knowledge, we have the education. This ignorance is just, there's no excuse for it.
Plastic, you just said that you transitioned at 5. Take us through the journey of your life, if you don't mind, because I think that's important for our viewing audience to know your story. And I mean, at such a young age, and people have argued that young children aren't aware, able to have that distinction of gender identity, but clearly that is not the case. Please tell us more.
Yeah, clearly they haven't had a trans child. I started actually vocalizing it even younger. I was about 2.5. And luckily I have a very supportive mother who has 2 masters in psychology and is my best friend. And that saved my life, was having one parent who really understood and saw me for me. That makes the biggest difference in the world. So and again, I'm 30 now. So this is going back years and years and years ago when we didn't have the education that we have now. So I didn't even know who I was or what I was or how I fit into society. I just knew I was in the wrong body. So I didn't even call it transgender. I just lived as female. I presented as female my entire life. And then around my late teens, I started on hormone replacement therapy and then got my gender confirmation surgeries. But I know from experience that I don't have an excess level of testosterone. In fact, I don't produce any testosterone, and I have to take testosterone cream because I don't make testosterone. So the things that these people are saying, they're false narratives, they're lies, it's misinformation, and it's all damaging to us who are actually living it. So I wish people who are not trans would just shut up and let us be, because we're not hurting anybody. You're the ones hurting us.
Well, we wish someone would shut up, and that is Fox News, because they cannot stop talking about this issue. Now, Fox has aired more discussions about trans athletes in the first 3 months of 2021 than in the last 2 years combined. Now, Fox aired at least 126 discussions, close to 130 discussions, you guys, about transgender athletes from January 2019 through March 2021, including 72 discussions that aired in the first 3 months of this year alone, more than twice as many as in 2019 and 2020. I'm not surprised by this. I mean, are we surprised at Fox News? No, we're not. This is what they do. Like they hop on. They are. I shouldn't say this on the Young Turks, but Fox News. They continue the rhetoric on anything that is damaging, as you said, plastic to LGBTQ+, to trans, to marginalized groups of people, to women, to people of color. That's just what they do. That's what they have producers. At least in my opinion, this isn't my own opinion. They have producers and people within the building that are just like, today, how can we be the crappiest humans and attack the non-crappy humans, right? That's what they do. Hope. That's all. That's what we can only hold on to, right? With everything that we've been through in the last 15 months and everything that the LGBTQ+ community has been through in our existence. Adrienne, what is your hope for the future in regards to trans and the LGBTQ+ experience?
Well, kind of as Canela had mentioned, it's the mental health aspect that is hurting primarily children, trans children who want to compete and want to be involved in sports and want to be accepted and embraced as they are. The Trevor Project recently did a research study, and they found that more than 9 out of 10 LGBTQ+ youth said recently that the politics that are going on have negatively affected their mental health. There has been a spike in feelings of suicide within the last year. 42% of the kids said that they've considered it. And it's just so incredibly important that people educate themselves, but also stop listening to this Fox News us them narrative, because that's what's being pushed, and it's very problematic. And I do want to give kind of a shout out there, just because it's a Good Friends documentary that just came out today. It debuted. It's called Changing the Game. It's an award winner. It's on Hulu. It's an original Hulu documentary now, and it premiered today. So please go to Hulu, get education, get information, especially as it concerns the trans athlete kind of controversy that's full of a lot of lies. And you can also head to my girlfriend's YouTube page, Kayla Ward. She just put up an amazing video on it. But yeah, get the information you need.
Get the information you need. Canela, any last words?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that I really would love a future in which trans kids are able to just exist as they are, and trans people aren't reduced to just our bodies, and we're able to just exist safely and peacefully without a fear of violence, particularly for trans people of color.
Right. Plastic?
I mean, ditto. I want to be able to walk out of my door and not wonder if today is the day that I'm gonna be the target of a hate crime. And I have so much privilege in my life. I'm not excusing that. And still, I'm afraid for my safety. I live in a wonderful neighborhood and I have a lot of privilege, and I am still afraid for my life because I'm transgender. I walk down the street and I wonder, does that person know that I'm trans? Does that person recognize me? Is that person they're looking at me funny? Are they gonna come after me? And it's a constant fear, and cis people just don't get it. Like all my cis friends, they're just like, oh, you're being ridiculous. No, I'm not. I can't travel to this certain country. I can't go to this neighborhood. I can't go here. It's not safe for me, and I wanna live in that life, and I want other people to live in a world where that doesn't exist, and they don't have to feel that way. So I just hope that I can make a little bit of a difference for the future generation of trans kids, that they have it a little bit easier than I and other people did.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.